In diplomacy, words are usually chosen carefully, measured, and safe. So when North Korean leader Kim Jong-un told Vladimir Putin that their countries had shared blood, life and death in the Ukraine war, it wasn't just rhetoric, it was a confession, a public admission that North Korea is no longer watching this war from the sidelines, but fighting it. Kim's New Year message to Putin, published by North Korea's state media, framed 2025 as a really meaningful year for relations between Pyongyang and Moscow. Not because of treaties, not because of speeches, but because, as Kim put it, they were now fighting in the same trench. And that phrase matters, because trenches are where soldiers bleed and die. And for the first time, North Korea is openly acknowledging that its soldiers are doing exactly that. For months, Western intelligence agencies had accused North Korea of quietly supporting Russia, sending artillery shells, missiles, and even rockets. Then came the escalation. In April, Pyongyang confirmed what many suspected. North Korean troops had been deployed in support of Russia's war against Ukraine, and some had been killed in the combat. Earlier this month, North Korea went further still, admitting its forces were sent to Russia's Kursk region to clear mines. Mine clearing is not just symbolic work, it's frontline labor, high risk, high casualties. This wasn't training, it was participation. Kim Jong-un's Blood Alliance language serves two audiences. At home, it reinforces the image of North Korea as a hardened wartime state, standing shoulder to shoulder with the global power. Abroad, it sends a different message. It says, sanction didn't stop us, isolation didn't stop us, pressure didn't stop us. North Korea is shaping the battlefield, and it wants the world to know it. The timing of Kim's message wasn't accidental. As it was released, Kiev was rocked by another wave of missile and drones attacks. Explosion lit up the night sky. Air defense systems were activated across the capital. Ukraine issued a nationwide air alert, warning of cruise and ballistic missiles approaching multiple regions. This was not a war winding down, it was a war intensifying. And as Russia deepens its alliances, the strikes on Ukrainian cities continued unabated. At the same time, Moscow is accusing the European Union of sabotaging potential peace talks. Russian officials claim Brussels is undermining negotiations ahead of a proposed meeting between Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Donald Trump. According to Moscow, any peace deal must stick to terms allegedly discussed between Trump and Putin earlier this year, or there will be no deal at all. The result? Washington, Brussels, Kiev, and Moscow all appear to be working from different maps of what peace even means. Ukraine is also warning that Belarus is becoming more deeply involved. President Zelensky says Russian forces are placing drone guidance equipment on residential buildings inside Belarus, using civilian rooftops to direct attacks into western Ukraine. If true, it suggests a dangerous shift, civilians being woven directly into infrastructure of the war. And it doesn't stop there. Satellite imagery suggests Russia may be preparing to deploy nuclear-capable oceanic hypersonic missiles in eastern Belarus. If confirmed, it would significantly shift NATO's security calculus in the Eastern Europe. Meanwhile, Russia claims incremental territorial gains in Ukraine's Zaporizhia region, villages captured, drones blocking reinforcement, kilometers gained meter by meter. It's a slow grinding war of attrition, now sustained not just by Russian resources, but by partners willing to supply manpower and munitions, including North Korea. Kim Jong-un's words, blood, life and death, mark a turning point. There is no longer a transactional partnership, it's a wartime alliance. For Russia, North Korea offers loyalty, labor and weapons. For Kim, the war offers relevance, leverage and protection. As missile strikes Kiev, diplomacy fractures and new fronts quietly open in Belarus. One truth is becoming impossible to ignore. The war in Ukraine is no longer just Ukraine's war. It is becoming a global confrontation, defined not only by interests, but by who is willing to bleed together. Thank you for watching. For more such deep dives, share, follow and subscribe Geopolitical Navigator.